I'm Stan Ellsworth. You might have heard me talking about history on American Ride. But today, I want to talk about the United States Constitution, how it came to be, why it came to be, and what makes the United States Constitution a revolutionary document even today. So throttle up, baby. Let's hear the story. The United States Constitution is a revolutionary document. It was the first document in world history that gave power to the people. It made the people responsible for their government. But the real genius that Madison showed in composing this Constitution was making this strong central government that the Constitution creates accountable to itself. He broke the government into three branches and gave each branch of government a check and balance over the others, so no one branch could become tyrannical, take too much power, and outweigh the voice of the people. Now here's the three branches that we have today. Number one, we've got an executive, represented by the president, General Washington in this case. Number two, we've got a legislature, represented by the Capitol building. And number three, we've got the judicial branch, represented by Lady Liberty here, but that's most largely understood as the Supreme Court. Now, each one of these branches, like we said, can check and balance the other. The president, his check and balance over the legislature is the veto power. It means he can say no to whatever actions Congress might pass. If he disagrees, he signs the veto. Number two, the president has the check over the judicial of appointments to the federal bench. The president can always appoint different people to preside in the federal courts. Now the legislature, its check and balance over the president is it can always override the veto. If the voice of the people is strong enough to tell the president he's wrong, then the actions of Congress will become the law of the land, notwithstanding the veto. And the legislature has the check and balance over the judicial system because they can amend the Constitution, change the law. Now the judicial, their check and balance over both the executive and the legislative is the right or the power of judicial review. That's how we practice it today. The Supreme Court acts like the final arbitrator of what laws are constitutional and what laws are not. They check executive action and legislative law. Together, these three branches make a strong central federal government, but they make sure that no branch of government becomes too powerful. You have to remember that our federal government is a vested entity. That means that we, the people, are trusting that federal government to do for us what we can't possibly do for ourselves as individuals or as individual states. When we read the preamble to the Constitution, this becomes clear. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, to establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility, to provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and to secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Now, right off the top, we learned that A, the Constitution is meant to replace the Articles of Confederation, because under the Articles, things just weren't working right. And the Constitution is the effort we put forward to create that more perfect union. Number two, to establish justice. That means to hold everyone equal under the same standard of law, to ensure domestic tranquility, to make sure that some of the problems that we were having under the Articles, where states were actually getting into fights with other states, won't ever happen again. Number four, provide for the common defense. We found under the Articles that the several states individually couldn't really accomplish putting forward a standing army or a navy. And General Washington understood that better than anyone. The revolution was tough. So we trust the federal government, that federal entity, to provide for the common defense of all. Number 5, to promote the general welfare. This concept is directly applied to that interstate commerce idea. Under the Articles of Confederation, Washington couldn't even get 2 states to dig a canal together. There was a lot of problems. Now, we trust the federal government to regulate interstate commerce and create an environment where every state can be prosperous, where every individual citizen can use their own ambition, their own drive, their own vision to create prosperity for themselves. And lastly, to secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. The Constitution is the how-to. The Declaration of Independence is the vision. Those are the hopes, the ideals, and principles that with the Constitution we hope to enact, and we trust the federal government to help us create that nation. But the rules are still the same, just as they were in 1776. If any government becomes destructive of those ends, then it is the right of the people to alter that government or abolish it altogether. That's the agreement, the contract we have with our federal government. We'll see you next time when we're going to talk about what we as citizens can do to further promote the success of our federal government.
Subscribe now. It's history with attitude and the American story with an edge.